Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money,
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Powers Parlays is the show for you. So place your bet and get ready to win big with Mike Powers and Powers Parlays. Right here on The Gambler.
All right, and welcome back to Powers Parlays. Sorry we weren't here for the last couple of weeks. We got stuff to do, but what we got tonight, Mets Phillies. Let's go, Philly. How you feeling? I'm excited. I know I'm on the other side of this for a change. Jansen's a Philly fan. I'm obviously a Met fan. I'm the honorary Met fan of Fox Sports The Gambler, I'd say. You got Ranger Suarez versus Kodai Senga. And I love that man. I think he's makes baseball so much fun. So, Philly, you're in for a treat. This guy's amazing. He's a magician, the way he could get out of some of these awkward situations. And, we're in for a great game.
Hopefully it should be a good game.
Yeah.
That's just both sides of things. I don't know which way it gets ugly, how it gets ugly.
Yeah.
Obviously, you would feel better about the Mets because Senga has started the season. Now, obviously, he's coming from Japan, so there's still a lot to be worked out with him. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that can take a while for some pitchers. I mean, it took Ohtani pitching, I'm pretty sure, an entire year for his pitching to come. His bat was further along than his pitching was, and we now know how great of a pitcher he is.
Right.
But I think we see those. I mean, you said Kikuchi, it took forever. I mean, this is finally the year. It looks like he's putting something together, but it can take a long time for pitching, for whatever reason that may be, to kind of catch up to the Major League Baseball game. And we're seeing that. The good thing is, though, his stuff's electric.
Yeah.
And he's getting comfortable enough where I feel like I've seen enough good starts out of him that he is starting to find his footing here in the majors. So as long as his stuff is great, which it has been, he should be fine. You would have the bigger questions about Ranger just because coming back from injury.
He's coming back, yeah. So, I mean, look, everything shows that this is a great matchup. I think if they're both healthy, they're very, very similar. As far as their role on their teams.
I find this matchup really interesting early in the season because these are both teams that are kind of
it's
flirting
crazy.
Around the 500 line. They're both not in the spot they thought they would be. Both thought they were going to be competing for the NL East. They're probably not going to be anywhere near that discussion by the end of the season. These are two teams that are just trying to find their way. Now, it feels like the Phillies have at times more than the Mets, and now right now it feels like the Mets have more than the Phillies.
Which is weird because the records don't reflect that. Well, it's only 2 games difference, right?
Right.
But yeah, I enjoy the Phillies right now more than I've enjoyed the Mets because
I think at times they have been more aesthetically pleasing than the Mets because their lineup can be so potent at times.
Well, and also,
you get starts like you have from Wheeler a couple days ago. And
the Mets started the way they were supposed to, how everybody anticipated them, and then they just started losing. I think they lost 4 series in a row, finally won one. Now they lost 2 in a row. So it's just they can't get out of their own way. So it's exciting, but also there's not many division games this year anymore because everybody plays every team. And you're going to see that these divisions, if you want to get yourself back into it, whether the Mets, the Phillies, you saw the Phillies take 2 out of 2 with the Braves, they split it. That's huge. These games are going to become huge because I remember Philly moments where, hey, you're 3 games back. The Braves are in town, you overtake them or something like that. And the Mets have done that too with the Nationals in the past. I remember in August, they were 4.5 out. Mets sweep the Nats. Next thing you know, they're 1.5 out. So those opportunities aren't going to come as often as they used to years prior. So you got to take advantage of them. So I think that if you could ever have a most meaningful series in May or early June, this is it. So pretty exciting, man.
Yeah, and it would be nice because the Phillies obviously had the Braves before this in a 4-game series, and they split that. Mm-hmm. So I think there's even more emphasis on it would be nice to come away with a winning record on the road. I mean, this is a road trip against 2 of you would say the top teams in the NL East, the teams you thought you would be competing against most. And to come away potentially a game or 2 above where you were before the series started, I think that would be huge. So I think right now splitting with Atlanta is not the worst thing. I thought they were competitive.
No, that was
the
great.
last game.
Could have been way worse.
It could have been, right. Could have been worse, and they had, obviously that blowout game with Dylan Covey on Sunday. But I just think if they can take away the series from the Mets and win 2 of 3 here, that would be ultimately, I think, a huge win
especially
for the Phillies on the
home,
road trip.
Right? Yeah. Ends the road trip the right way. The Mets are in town. Mets are home for the next 6 games. But yeah, I think it's more important for the Phillies to end this road trip the right way, or take 2 out of 3 and make this a successful road trip for them, especially in the division. But when I look at things, I'm looking at certain things, and I'm not touching the money line. I'm not touching the points. Like, I'm not betting on the game itself as who's going to win.
It's hard to with these two teams,
right? Because
they've been so inconsistent. Both equally inconsistent this season. It's hard to. Again, I think the only thing tonight you can kind of rest on is Senga being further along than Suarez is right now.
Yeah, so I have Trey Turner getting a hit for my first Powers parlay, Mets Phillies Powers parlay. Trey Turner to get a hit, Lindor to get a hit. So the 2 guys that are playing shortstop for both teams, I think respectively, they will get a hit. Kodai Senga, 5 strikeouts. The Nerfy, and that's for plus 390. So I think it's a responsible parlay. I think the hardest part of it is the Nerfy itself, but I think both teams are.
Yeah, it's been Suarez's biggest problem is early on in games, kind of getting into a lot of trouble.
So there's a lot of games tonight, honestly, and I want to get into a few because I saw a lot of value that I was scratching my head, and I get it. Like, the Yankees aren't the Yankees right now, right? And the Angels are still kind of like a question mark. But to get them both at plus points, I was like, I'm taking this. So I made a parlay, just 2 games, money line Angels and money line Yankees. And the reason for this is just the simple fact that, first off, it's baseball, right? Like, I get it. Like, I'm not going to take anything out of Giolito. Like, he's awesome, right? But the White Sox are terrible. Like, so you got to mess around and win this in the 8th inning. So Moneyline Angels, I'm all for it. I mean, we're talking about Mike Trout. If it was minus 110 for both teams, like, I wouldn't be mad at this. But to see it at plus 120, not only did I bet it as an individual game, I also bet it with the Yankees because they're in a similar situation, man. Yankees right now are playing the Mariners, and I get. The Mariners are legit. They're good. Like, they're young. They're good. They could easily win. But to get the Yankees plus points, yeah, granted, Rizzo's injured. Bader's injured, right? They both, I think, have hamstrings. You got Stanton out on a hamstring issue, actually starting to rehab in New Jersey, which is great for the Yankees long term. But, dude, it's a baseball game. Like, we just saw the Oakland Athletics win this weekend, for the 11th or whatever time it is. So, I mean, like, everybody wins eventually. So I was like, I don't hate this parlay. And I was like, and it's 2 teams that can win any given night. So to play this on the money line, Yankees Angels, and get 420 for it, I'm like, I'm doing it. So plus 420 if you bet the money line on the Yankees and the Angels.
Yeah, it's just hard to trust the White Sox with the lineup the way it is.
It's trash.
Because in the past, this would have been kind of a good spot to bet the White Sox because they're going up against the lefty. Mm-hmm. And Tyler Anderson, I think he'll be fine. He's also one that I'm pretty sure came in injured this season. And yeah, he's started 8 games so far, 9 games.
2-0, right?
So his ERA in May has been a lot better, 3.68 in May. Mm-hmm. And obviously, he was pretty good last year with the Dodgers with that 2.57. So this is a guy that's kind of struggling to start, had this kind of anomaly year. And the White Sox have been very good against lefties over the past few seasons. And obviously, we look at Giolito, great pitcher for them. Better month than he's had in a bit. Obviously, a couple bad starts in the past 3 starts for him. So up to a 3.77 ERA, but pitching better than he really has been previously because last year he was not good. But it's just, I can't trust the White Sox lineup. I can't trust Giolito. And everything that we used to say about the White Sox against lefties just doesn't apply anymore.
Yeah. Also, they're going backwards. You got,
so far backwards.
So much bad morale with the players. Like, everything just seems like fan base isn't happy. So I don't know. I think the Angels could definitely take this game. Not even steal it. I was like, this is silly. Like, you're going to give me plus points on both of these games. Like I said, I bet them individually. I think that's a smarter move. But also, I paired them up, and that parlay hits at 480. I'm going to be a happy man. So, it's for me, like, I don't get it. And the next thing I want to talk about, and this is really where I've been making most of my money throughout the week, and that's base props, total base props. And it's crazy. Like I'm 9 for 10 with Juan Soto, which is
nice.
Nuts. Which is nuts, man.
Crushing it lately.
So I have a few that I want to, I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth right now. But J-Rod at 1.5 total bases, that's a steal. Like, are you kidding me? My man could walk twice. You know what I mean? So, like, I think it's very easy for J-Rod to get 1.5 bases. Like, I'm not thinking they're going to win. Like, it's not like I'm going 4 or something like that. It's a plus 105 to get J-Rod at 1.5 bases. Dude could hit a double. He could hit 2 singles, a walk and a base hit. Who cares? Like, it's total bases. So Vegas hasn't really caught up to this, I don't think, really. And it's a very easy way to make some money in baseball if you understand it. And not even understand it. Just bet the plus. And then
and Julio's been hot lately. So he started off poorly, but the last almost it seems like week he has been on fire. Dating back to even to the start of the Oakland series on May 22nd, pretty much all multi-hit games except for one of them. All the others, he had 3 hits on May 22nd, 1 hit the day after, but then since he has had 2 hits in all the games since, at least 2 hits, and actually all of them down to 2 hits, and even 3 home runs included in that. So he has been on fire. His OPS has gone down from entering May 22nd, it was a 656. He's back up to a 762.
Wow.
So he is on fire.
He's back, baby.
Yeah.
Look, and also
that was going to happen eventually with him.
But that's how I feel about Trey Turner and Lindor right now. They're not playing to the back of their baseball card yet. So like it's like I'll bet them both in a parlay to get a hit tonight because I think you get geared up a little bit more when you're playing Mets Phillies. The fan base does. We all do, right? So I think the players will, and I think this is a statement game for either one of those guys who have struggled with the bat throughout the season, as short as it is, compared to what Trey did in the World Baseball Classic. It's starking what he's really done so far in the Phillies uniform, but I think he's due, man. So getting a hit with him, and like I said, Lindor's pretty much in the same boat. He has a couple more moments that are memorable in a Mets uniform this year, but honestly, like there's a lot of fans, Met fans, that are complaining about his production. So in my eyes, they're both going to start to go do their thing. Look, going back to base props, 1.5 for Matt Olson, Braves versus the A's. Like, it's Matt Olson, right? And he's playing the worst team in baseball. So, I mean, to get 1.5 base total bases is a cakewalk for this man. Plus 130 value to begin with. And I'm just like, okay, I'm all about it. And then my last one today is Fernando Tatis, because he's living in the moment. Like, he's definitely, if this is WWE, he's Seth Rollins. Like, he is the ultimate heel right now. The fans are giving it to him when he's on the road. They're in Oakland, so there won't be any fans. So I think he's going to have a great game just because now he doesn't have to worry about, getting heckled by all 4 people that show up. And he'll actually be able to play the game. But also, I do appreciate, like, dude, look, he had to come clean with his teammates. He had to come clean with the fan base about cheating and whatever he did wrong. And, obviously it's the easy thing for all these fan bases to do is heckle him, and he deserves it. He acknowledges that and he dances to it. So good for him. I think it's the right way to do it. Whereas, like, the Astros, I think the reason why their cheating scandal lingered so long was because they were like explaining it and like never really apologetic or really like embracing the fact that, yeah, we cheated, we won, deal with it, and that's what Tatis is doing right now. So I do appreciate that in a weird sense.
Yeah, and I guess Tatis, we've been used to the way he cheated with performance enhancers.
It's very fair.
We have not been used to the Astros.
No.
And just flat out stealing signs with video and all that stuff. So, again, it's still cheating. And so it all, where do you draw kind of a line of what cheating is not that bad and which one's worse than the other?
No.
But it's just we have have not seen to that extent that kind of cheating with Houston.
Yeah, it's I mean, I would say with the 3 Bs when they had Bagwell and Biggio and all those guys were definitely roided up. But yeah, you're right. The sign stealing and then using technology for sign stealing, because sign stealing is allowed. Like, I would do it in Little League if I knew that the pitcher was tipping.
I've been doing that since Little League, and even up to high school, where you would go, okay, somebody. Yeah. You would literally designate one person on the bench
just to figure them out.
And you were always telling everybody on the bench, just look over and see if you can see like anything that you can find. So
sometimes it was
maybe
just
steal a sign.
Yeah, sometimes like just that chatter gives you confidence too. Like for me, every time somebody told me like, "Oh, watch his glove," like if it's by his belt or whatever, when you're in the moment, it's very hard to identify that. But having the confidence that you know what pitch is coming, even if you really don't know, like it definitely increased my hits for sure. So there was one game I won 4 for 4 because they said like when it's at his belt, he's throwing a curveball. I was like, all right. So I just sat on the curveball.
Sure.
Yeah, I just sat on the curveball and I hit it. And So
yeah, I was beyond help. Baseball.
No, I mean, I was a base hitter. I wasn't a home run hitter or anything like that for sure. Amazing defensive first baseman. I'll put my talents up against anybody. But other than that, yeah, I couldn't hit my weight for sure. Look, we have a lot going on tonight throughout baseball, thank God. But the one thing we talked about at the end of the Daily Ticket, and I want to just really reemphasize it because Jansen and I were on the same boat with this. We got to do something better Memorial Day for baseball. Like it feels like it's the honorary kickoff to summer. Why wouldn't you have an insane amount of games for the game that's known for summer? Baseball is the dog days of summer. The boys of summer. That's what they're called. Like it's just so silly to me that yesterday, clicking through channels, I got home around 6:00 from work. I work on Memorial Day because that's what I do. But look, I'm sitting there and I was like, dude, there's like next to nothing throughout the whole day. Even like trying to put something on the TV while I work, there's only 6 games. The Yankees played at 9:40. Like, what are we doing?
None of them on any big major network.
And look, like you could have sold. Like I know they had like a week ago the military hats on the players. But was that like a mistake? Somebody realized, we got the date wrong or something? Like, I don't know what their logic was. But if you want to sell military apparel as a baseball or any organization, here's an idea. Have it front and center on Memorial Day. We do a great job. Father's Day is awesome. Mother's Day is awesome. I get it. It's a Sunday. Of course, you're going to have baseball. You can't have a Sunday without baseball unless it's football season. Then you can forget about baseball on a Sunday. But look, it blows my mind that Memorial Day would not be taken by this. And maybe they don't need it. They're just looking at the situation, right?
Baseball needs all it can get.
I agree.
Especially this time of year, to make a special day out of that. They definitely need it.
Yeah.
What other way could you organically drum up interest in a May game for baseball?
And also, like you just treat it like a Sunday, right? So, like you said, like have it all afternoon. The last game should go off at 7. End at 7 actually. So maybe a 5:10 start. And it would have been awesome to have family over and have that just playing in the background. One, it's great for to support the military and anybody in that aspect. I mean, granted, Memorial Day is for the ones we lost, but still to respect them and have this awesome moment for all these teams. But then to find out that the Mets and Phillies are off and the Yankees are playing at 10 o'clock at night, it's just ridiculous. I was like, I'm not watching this game out of purpose.
I didn't watch any baseball on Monday.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. It was rough. It was definitely rough to have that. Thank God the Celtics were awful and the Heat took them to 7 and won because like man that made my night, dude. So took the money line plus 250 with the Heat. I realized the Celtics are playing with fire, and they took the Hawks to 6 games. Sixers they beat in 7.
Playing with heat. Yeah, some
they're
might
playing
say.
with heat. Yeah, there you go. Great job. But well played, Jensen. So I was like,
That was right there for me.
to get that amount of value and understanding that it's still a game and both sides have to play. And granted, yeah, on paper, Boston's so much better, but they haven't been beating anybody. They barely beat the Hawks, Sixers. That was a coin flip. Like game 6, Sixers could have easily beat them. And they had them on the ropes, in my humble opinion. And then to see just the Heat, they're clicking, dude. They're really clicking. Like I said, I'm not going to touch them. I'm not going to brag. Oh, I'm going to take them with the Nuggets. Like, no, that's scary. He ain't joking there. His name might be Joker, but he's not joking. So it's just, for me, when you look at that series, that's the first time you're going to really see the Heat tested. But everybody's been saying that. They said that about the Knicks, that was an easy thing. Like, everybody's been underestimating the Heat, and I think they roll with that. I think they got nothing to lose. They're playing with house money, and they're enjoying it. So the best team out there is definitely the Heat. They are clicking. And the best thing for them is there's not much time to rest. So I think that's good for the Heat, but they are running into another buzzsaw, and that's the Denver Nuggets.
That's the thing. The Denver Nuggets are a buzzsaw. They've been rolling through absolutely everybody with ease.
No.
So I just think there have been teams that Boston was always going to keep them in games and keep them around because Boston just has not been that good. And the Knicks, obviously, are a good team, and they scraped their way by into the second round. They had one of their best players on the bench through most of the series because he was terrible.
Yeah.
And obviously we know Milwaukee had problems too. So this is the first time Miami's going to run into a team that doesn't have any issues, that is playing their best basketball. And I think Miami's going to have to play perfect to maybe take a couple of games. And even then, if they are perfect, even the Lakers, because everybody's saying this, like the Lakers could have taken a game or two against the Nuggets, and they could have.
Yeah.
But the Nuggets were perfect, and they're just better than the Lakers. So when they're perfect, Lakers don't stand a chance. And guess what? The Lakers stood no chance.
Yeah.
And the Lakers played well in that series.
I
don't
agree.
think they were bad. I thought they played well.
LeBron was down on himself, and he scored 40 points that last game. Like, it was just like,
Anthony Davis was incredible in game 1, and they could have won that game. But again, the Denver Nuggets were perfect. And if that's the team Miami runs into, Miami does not stand a chance.
You notice I hope baseball fans realize that baseball is now like the NBA, to where like your team will still be in it. So, and I know the Philly fan base understands that. I think that's why you're kind of enjoying yourselves right now a little bit more than the Met fan base, because of the fact that you realize all these teams get in now, because the Lakers got in on through the wild card system, the buy-in playing game, right?
Yep.
So that's baseball now. Like, it's very similar, although they play 162 games. There's a lot more games, but it's very, very similar to the NBA. But with that said, we're going to take our quick break. We'll be right back. Talk more baseball, talk some football. The Kelsey brothers made some highlights. We'll be right back on Fox Sports The Gambler.
You're listening to Powers Parlays with Mike Powers, right here on The Gambler.
All right, welcome back. Jansen's giving me anxiety. He's got his brand new iPhone with no cover on it. I'm just like, I don't know how you do that.
I like to live dangerously like that.
I bet. No, I can't do that. Also, like, I don't know, man. Like you said, it gets too dirty. I agree with that.
Yeah, the cases do.
Yeah.
And then I buy like these cheap clear ones, and they look cool. It's like a rubbery kind of texture, and
Awesome.
it looks good because I like to show off the phone looking good.
It is, yeah.
But those things are just a magnet for like dirt and everything, and they
No.
get really dirty.
I just, dude, I'd spend too much time like getting out of my car, and I forget it's on my lap or something.
Yeah, I always used to get those big bulky cases. Like OtterBox was always a thing.
No.
But it always makes your very nice, brand new looking phone look just like a brick. I hated that.
So look, man, like we've had some exciting basketball, and I feel like a lot of fans are like, oh, the refs TNT wants a game 7, or like NBA wants this. The refs are over officiating.
What do you mean? You don't like NBA conspiracy theories?
Yeah, so we finally have our first investigation into a ref.
Yeah, here we go. What are we investigating?
Eric Lewis. But it's not the type of investigation you'd think. Eric Lewis got caught with a burner account.
Because isn't he the Boston fan?
He is the Boston fan. He is the guy that
was
gets,
knowingly we
Right.
knew this, and he was still reffing